It's Sunday, which means we've got a brand new episode of Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. This is episode number 3, titled Guel's Pride. Before I get into my thoughts though, I want to hear what you thought of this episode, so head on down to the comment section below and let me know. And while you're there, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're a fan of anime and Japanese gaming and you want to keep up to date with my coverage of this series. But without further ado, let's dive into the episode. Suletta is allowed back to the school prior to her rematch with Guel, but is called to the dueling committee to discuss her stake in the duel. After a call with her mother, it's revealed that she is indeed the representative for Mercury we met in episode 2. Guel's new mobile suit has had an autopilot installed as per his father's request to ensure that he is able to defeat Suletta in battle. During the duel, the sprinkler system is activated, stopping either side from using their beam rifles, but it impacts Suletta the most, though miorine helps to correct this by catching the perpetrators. With Guel deactivating the autopilot, Suletta ultimately wins once again, apologising for misjudging Guel's skill, and the episode ends with Guel proposing to her. Once again, this series continues to impress in terms of its technicality. The animation is superb, the action is phenomenal. Of course, last episode we didn't really get any, but the first episode we kind of had that duel at the end and it was great there. This is a much more substantial duel. I guess it goes on for a lot longer and it is fantastic. It is truly showcasing what Sunrise are capable of when they put their mind to it, and the 2D mechs, the overall animation, it just looks incredible. In terms of story and characters as well, I'm still continuing to be impressed. Now Suletta, I said it last episode, I'm not fully invested in that character yet just because she's not really given me a whole lot to work with, but from what I'm getting, I think she's a likeable character. I think there's a lot that you could do with her, but I'm kind of waiting for that one thing to happen that really kind of pushes that character to the next level. With that said, they really do like a turnaround, I guess, on Guel in this episode because, as I said, at the end he proposes to her, which I will say is a little bit out of left field and I need to know a little bit more about that. But they've ultimately given him like a 3-episode redemption arc, if you will, where we met him in the first episode and he was just a complete dick. He was a very unlikable character, intentionally so, but now they've sort of given him this little redemption where he's generally a little bit more likable. You kind of see behind the scenes of how his relationship with his father is and the fact that his father essentially just uses him, doesn't really care that much about him and doesn't really have any faith in his skill. So it's really satisfying when he goes completely against his father, deactivates the autopilot thing that's built into the mobile suit and just tries to showcase his own skill regardless of whether he's going to win or lose. He just wants to be his own person, really. Now, there is one thing about that has me worried. It's not the going against his father necessarily, but it's just the fact that we have really developed this character very quickly in 3 episodes, and I'm not saying it's rushed because I don't think it is. I think they've done a really good job at doing it in such a short amount of time, but usually when you develop a character a lot early on, it kind of implies that maybe they're not going to be around for too long. I don't want to jinx myself, I don't want to jinx the show, but Gundam's known for kind of killing characters. It always has stakes. Could Guel die pretty early on? I don't want to say it's a safe bet necessarily, but I think it's a very real possibility. If there's going to be somebody that dies early on in the show, they've kind of set up Guel so he would be that character. Like I said, I don't want to jinx anything. I'm not saying it's set in stone or anything like that. That's just like a prediction of mine and just based on how quickly we have developed this character. So even after this episode, we still don't get like a good idea of what the show is actually about in terms of like its main plot line. But I think after the reveal with Suletta's mother being Prospera, who is the representative of Mercury, whether she actually is or whether she's just posing as it, I don't know. But I'm just going to put the theory hat on a second and just say that I could potentially see the war aspect of this show being Mercury versus the Bennery group. Because it's Gundam, it's going to have a war within it in some way. Now, I've said before that they could be going for more of the corporate war angle, and maybe they still are, but it's going to have action, it's going to have battles, it's going to have mobile suits versus mobile suits, because that's Gundam. You can't really take that away, because if you do, it's no longer Gundam. So I don't think it's out of left field to say that the Bennery group is like the antagonist force of this series, and I don't think it's out of left field to say that Mercury and Suletta's mother are going to be sort of the protagonist force, and then I have a feeling that Suletta's going to be caught somewhere in the middle, same with miorine, and same with a lot of the kids we have here. It's kind of mind-blowing to me though, within a few days or a week or whatever, Suletta has essentially had 2 people propose to her. I don't think she ever expected that. This is her first real social interaction with other people her age, and 2 people have proposed to her so far. She's having a wild time. But overall, this series just continues to impress me in every aspect. It is my favourite series currently airing within the fall 2022 season, and I don't think anything is going to top it because so far this series has continued to get better every episode, and we're not even getting over the main plot yet. Once that kicks in, I have no doubt that this is going to remain my favourite anime series of the fall 2022 season, and it could be in contention for my favourite of the year, though I don't think that's going to happen because Made in Abyss Season 2 exists, and like I've said before on the channel, I don't think that can be topped. Before I get out of here though, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video. Also subscribe if you're a fan of anime and Japanese gaming. If you want to see more Witch from Mercury coverage weekly in the future, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know exactly when those videos go up, and plenty more Gundam content to come in the future. Above all else though, I want to hear your thoughts on this episode, so head on down to the comment section below and let me know. What do you think of the duel? What do you think of Guel's arc that he's going through? And where do you think the story is going? But as always, thank you so much for tuning in to MChat today, and I'll see you all in the next video.